Hello everyone, welcome to the second episode of this new season of BioCast. Today, ANEB is represented by me, Filipa, and Margarida, and we will share a conversation with Héloïse and Edgard from Biomedical Engineering Student Committee from Politécnique of Montreal, Canada. I would like to kindly thank you for accepting our invitation and to thank our listeners for keeping us company once again. As usual, we would like to start by asking you to talk a little bit more about your organization and your current projects.
So, hi, thank you so much for inviting us at the BioCast. So, I'm Héloïse.
And I'm Edgard.
And we represent the Biomedical Engineering Student Committee at Polytechnique Montreal. So, basically, we, like I just said, but there is the School of Engineering, and we organize, our committee is here to represent the biomedical engineering students in Polytechnique to organize some social activities, but also some academic support for the people to be the link between the students and the professors, and also to organize some networking events. So this opportunity is amazing because biomedical engineering is a field that requires to we need to expand and we need to be more and more known in the industry. So we too organize events to meet some representatives of the industry and organize some trips and things like that. Do you want to add?
Yeah, so our current project is a bit of a restructuring of our committee. So in the past, we may have been a bit more closed to other exterior opportunities. So our school was mostly focused on research and doing graduate programs here in the school, as biomedical engineering was kind of a pioneer program. But now more and more students are wanting to go outside and explore external opportunities. And so we're kind of restructuring our committee. Normally we're 10 posts. And so we will be changing one of the posts. I will be continuing with VP, an external post where we organize conferences that people come to Polytechnique and they talk to us about their companies with different projects that they work on and maybe opportunities for internships and jobs. But we also want to open a post which would directly talk to organizations such as yourself. So ANEB, we have a Canadian Biomedical Engineering Society here. We also have a Quebec Biomedical Engineering Society. And we also have a Biomedical Engineering Society, but between the universities. And so this new post would basically be to talk to all of those organizations and mainly spread biomedical engineering throughout Quebec, Canada, and the world.
Yeah, and we thought about it because the students, they ask us so many times, like, okay, but what can we do with this kind of program? And you must have the same questions that are asked in your university. But yeah, what can we do when we're biomedical engineers? Like, which industry can we go to? Is it only research? Is it only conception? Is it like people just don't know, and the industry doesn't know either what we're doing. And so based on that amount of questions about this, we figured it was really important to clarify what is a biomedical engineer, and the best way to do that is to talk to these organizations and be present on this field. So yeah, it's a really good point. And biomedical engineering program, it was created 12 years ago in Polytechnique, so it's still new in Quebec.
Okay, thank you for your answer. Personally, I review myself in what you guys said, and I understand it. So yeah, it's nice to see that I don't feel alone in this, and it's really across the sea. You have the same impression as here in Portugal. So next, I would like to ask you the following. In Portugal, it's very common that students search for extracurricular activities where they can improve their soft skills. Would you say student activism is also an important pillar for student development in Canada?
Oh yes, definitely. I would say in Polytechnique in particular, it's like the school in Quebec, I would say, where student involvement is put forward like 100%. We often say it's like the worst 4 years of your life, or like the best 6, something like that. So it's encouraged that people will go. There's like, I think there's more than 50, 55, 60 different committees you can get involved in, whether it's academic activities like this committee, also just social activities to organize some events. And you also have some technical organizations, societies. Edgar will talk a little bit more about that afterwards. So you have some stuff for everything. You have even a committee for sports, for dance, for like pretty much everything you want to do. And you said it, it's really good to develop your soft skills, and even or your soft skills, or even your like programming skills. You can be anything, but definitely. Do you want to talk about
Yeah, so in conjunction with all the committees, there's also societies. So here it's kind of different. Maybe in other universities in Canada they're combined, but we also have a lot of competitions. And so it would imply that, for example, in our university we have a exoskeleton committee called ECA, which is for biomedical engineers mostly. And so we build an exoskeleton for firefighters, and we go into a competition with other universities from Canada and the United States. We have to talk about the United States because we're close neighbors, and it's very easy for us to collaborate. So a lot of our competitions, we also have a Formula Car team. We also have a Neuro team. There's a lot of different societies where you could implicate yourself and show yourself on either the national or even the world scale on what your capabilities might be. And it allows you to further develop stuff that we learn at school.
And also the beauty of this kind of committee is that in the real world, you'll be put in some projects with some different people, with people working, yes, in engineering from other programs, but also people in like marketing, people in like anything. So these kind of organizations really allow you to work with people you wouldn't normally work with, to organize some events that have no link whatsoever with your field of study. But it's also good sometimes, like, I don't know, your programs and the level of like work, the amount of work you need to do, but it's so exhausting. And just having, yes, it's one more thing you need to think about, but it's so different. It's a different way of thinking. It's collaboration. It's having some meetings. It's just brainstorming, and that's the key part of being like a complete engineer. So I do feel it's going towards the right direction to be whoever we want to be.
Thank you for your answer. So I'm seeing that you have you are very involved in your society, in your university. Here in Portugal, the companies also value those things because we became more versatile as future engineers. So I will ask you the next question. In Portugal, while a few companies occasionally align with the study plans of certain degree programs, this is not common in most universities. Is this also the case in Canada? Do you think it will be beneficial for students if companies provided inputs in study plans?
It's a project we have. Exactly like this year, like we said, it's our main focus to clarify what is biomedical engineering. And we are restructuring not only the committee like Edgar talked about, but also the courses. So at the end, it's a program on over 4 years. So the first year is more general, but it's still like in biomedical engineering, and then you like get deeper and deeper into the real biomedical engineering. And the last year, you can choose 4 classes that you want. And you have some guidelines, but these guidelines were really blurry. And we want to create 9 or 10 new like little programs, specializations, orientations that you can choose. And we want to base that on what the industry is looking for. So, for example, what we're kind of going towards would be to have one linked to mechanical engineering, biomechanical just biomechanical and to do robotics and things like that. A second one concerning AI, informatics, data science, and everything. Another one,
biomaterial.
Yeah, biomaterials, also like chemical, tissue engineering, and everything. Another one, medical imaging. It's like a clear one, etc. So we had like 9 or 10, and this would not only beneficiate the students because it would be more clear for them in fourth year what they want to go to, but also for the industry. Also, like people can arrive and be like, oh yes, I'm a mini expert in biomechanical because I had 4 really expert classes on this. So, and also for the new students who are going to arrive at Polytechnique and say like, oh yeah, I know what I want to do later on, and this is my main motivation for my 4 years. So yeah.
And so, like, to complete the answer is, in our university, in biomedical engineering specifically, we don't really have liaisons with companies in the program. So that's what me and Héloïse are kind of for. We're supposed to create these liaisons, have conferences. We invite companies to come, not Polytechnique. And so we would want to implement that into our course load. So for example, Medtronic Cryocath are very nice. They really want us to collaborate together. And so we're trying to collaborate where we go to their manufacturing site and they show us a bit how they manufacture all their products, how the catheters, especially their cardiac ablation catheters. And so we would try to integrate that into a class. Right now, the only successful integration of outside companies would be our 4th year project, also known as no, there's a real name in Canada for the 4th year project, which is for a year. I forgot what the other universities call it. In all cases, this 4th year project, other outside companies can come and propose ideas or propose problems that they want to be solved. So for example, this year we have an AI company with EEGs. We have a company that wanted something that resembles blood, another company for spectroscopy, etc. So these companies would come, propose a problem, we solve it, and hopefully, if we solve it well, might also lead to job opportunities and others. So to answer your question, yes, it's very important to have the input of outside companies, and so we've been trying.
Yeah, we've been trying, and Edgard mentioned the project. That's the main like way to connect with the industry, and we had some meetings with alumni students, so people who graduated, graduate students who are now in the industry, and we're trying to figure out exactly the answer to this question. So whether for them who just finished or finished 4 years ago the program and who are now working in the industry, what are they doing? Do they feel the formation they had were enough and appropriate to what they're doing, and how is their field of study viewed in the industry? So we're trying to figure out if our formation is enough, is good, is aligned with their priorities, or if we need to adjust. And the main answer they were giving is all everything we learned in 4 years can be pretty much summarized into those 4 integrative projects, where we have 1 semester or 1 whole year to solve an engineering problem, and just putting out together all the skills we have. So yeah.
Okay, thank you. Congratulations on your initiative. It's really good, and we try to do the same here, and we will keep on trying. It's really important. So next, what would you say are the typical pathways for students in biomedical engineering in Quebec? Is it more common to go straight into industry after a bachelor's degree, or do most students pursue graduate studies?
So basically, the common knowledge here is that the graduates from biomedical engineering go into 3 different categories, split 3 ways. So a third of the students will go into graduate studies. They'll keep going to masters, a doctorate, and maybe even try to aim for a professor position. The other thirds go directly into the industry. And finally, the last third go into something that here in Canada we have is a biomedical engineer, but in the hospital. And so what a biomedical engineer in hospitals does is basically integrate all the technologies into a hospital. Because as you know, we can't just put an MRI in a random room. It'll probably destroy the room. And so the biomedical engineer in the hospital is the person who's the most knowledgeable about all the technologies to implement, is there to talk with the doctors and give back feedback or kind of repair machines, but also know when it's time to move on from a machine and not keep on repairing it. So it is a pathway that we have here in Quebec. I don't know if it's the same in Portugal, but we do have a lot of students that go into that. And it's also important to note that in Quebec, especially, we are a kind of a hub for startups. So we have around, I don't know, what do you say, like 10, 11 different propulsion programs where they help you, you can get money, they can push you and give you advice to create a company out of
like all the resources you can get. You can like be linked to one hub and then get all the resources, and they even have like a small office, and you have more than like, I don't know, 40, 50 like startups in biomedical engineering in Quebec, in Montreal.
So a lot of our students are looking to be entrepreneurs and throw themselves into a startup. Also, as said from the previous question, from a fourth-year project, it sometimes also leads to a startup. And so really Montreal is mostly known for our ability to create something from the ground.
Yeah, especially students coming from Polytechnique, because what we learn in our project and everything is just to have something, have no idea what to do, and just like figure something out. This is what we learn, and to like put all the knowledge we can get and the project saying like, okay, well, firstly I was able to do it. So yeah, and this can be translated into the start of a new startup. And Edgard highlighted something really interesting is about the biomedical engineering title in Quebec is officially in the industry linked to the hospital position. And so what we're trying to do is not present ourselves necessarily as a biomedical engineering, but as an engineer who has all the knowledge in electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, software engineering, chemical and physical engineering. So we have plus this motivation to do something for the medical industry. So we're trying to clarify that, but it's not clear for everyone what you can do, as your question is really, really well, interesting in that part. So a lot of people also go into graduate studies because they don't know where to go afterwards. I'm guessing you might have the same, maybe the same issue at the end of your 4 years, like, okay, well, I don't know where to go. And you just go into, so we have two kind of master's programs. We have the research master's program where you take a few classes, but basically you have like 1.5 years to do a project with a professor and you're linked to one lab, and then you just lead your project all the way. And this can also lead to a doctorate program. And you also have the professional master's program where you just take classes, 1 year classes, and it would be like 10 classes approximately, and then you're doing an internship in the industry or in research. You can kind of do both. And yes, this can help just take 1 more year to figure out, or just to be more specialized in something, because when you finish your 4 years, sometimes you're like, oh well, I don't know what I can bring to the company. And we want to like make students realize that they have the ability to go. They have the ability to go and to figure it out, and they need to be confident about their skills. So, and the only way to provide this confidence to the students is for the industry to tell them like, yes, you're good enough and we want you. But this still needs to be done.
Thank you. From what I'm seeing, we have a lot of similarities from Portugal and Canada. And also we are very versatile engineering. So if we have more pathways for us to follow, we have even more possibilities for the future. So the next question will be, for students coming from abroad, how easy it is to adapt to life and studies in Quebec? Are there specific support systems in place for international students?
Yes, there is. First, let's talk about life and studies in Quebec. So we are right now February 10th. There's approximately like 30 centimeters of snow outside. Really cool. It's really sunny, and you just need to, when you come in Quebec, to be ready to have long winters, but really beautiful winters. Like you can see the sun on our faces today. It's really
very sunny, but minus 22 degrees.
Yeah. But it's honestly, I've studied abroad, and I realized that Quebec is like really amazing to study in. People and students are really welcoming. In Quebec, we speak French, so that also needs to be known. It's French Canadians, so you can speak English and like figure something out and people will understand, but the majority of the people still speak French. And when you arrive at Polytechnique, they have a really good support system for all the international students. I had the opportunity to deal with them because they also deal with people going outside of Montreal. And there's also a small, we were talking about student involvement. There's one student committee who organized, it's like Poly Explore. And for all the international students, they organized some field trips. They organized some just meetings, activities. You have also a Poly International, and they organize for example, in the park in the summer, they will say, okay, this week it's the Portuguese week, and then you'll have all Portuguese food, and some music, some dancing, and everyone would just like gather around this particular culture for one day. So basically, if you need the support and you want to be around people similar to you, you can always find them. Montreal is a multicultural city also, and everyone's welcome. Yeah.
Okay. So I guess you already answered this question, but I would also like this input, your input in this. So how is biomedical engineering perceived by the society in Canada? For example, are students widely recognized and valuable in healthcare and technology sectors, or is it still an emerging field in terms of public awareness and professional opportunities?
I would say in public awareness, it's not really known yet. So I think I've never said to someone, yes, I'm a biomedical engineer, and they're like, what? Every single time.
Yeah.
But I think it's normal because even in the industry, I feel it's not really reflected. So a lot of times when we get internships or we go to work, yes, we're a biomedical engineer, but the project itself is called, for example, mechanical engineering or electrical engineering or whatever. It's not really a biomedical engineer, which is, once again, what me and Héloïse and our committee is trying to work on.
Yes, biomedical engineering, people often just hear the word biomedical and they're like, oh, it's like biology, it's medicine. It's like, no, it's really the link between both. And once you explain, they're like, oh, okay. And most often we explain like, okay, imagine a hospital and you have all those machines. Well, we basically deal with the machines. And this way people are like, oh, okay, I get it. But no, it's really not that known in terms of public awareness. But it's just people understand, but we need to prove ourselves and our our skills, basically. So once it's proven, they will understand, but we need to put that in front. And it's okay when you have the personality to do it. So when you're really motivated by what you do and you're just going forward and you're looking yourself for those opportunities and you're proactive in that research, it'll be fine, like really fine, and you will find some jobs. But often people are waiting for opportunities to come to them, and biomedical engineering opportunities won't come to you like from
Out of the sky.
Yeah, out of the out of the sky. I don't know if, because it's also a strength of biomedical engineering. It's a middle ground between so many different fields and domains. That's what makes us who we are, but it can be harder, and I understand the people who find it hard to find good opportunities.
And if I can add to Héloïse, I think also a problem that we had in the past that we're slowly surmounting is that there is a program called biomedical sciences.
Yeah.
And so when people hear biomedical engineer, they think of that program, which is mostly a bridge program to get to medicine. And so they think we all want to be medical students, but we're not here to be medical students. We're here to be engineers. And so slowly this illusion is breaking, and people are starting to understand what we really do. As Héloïse said, we're still a new entity in Montreal. We're the only university that offers biomedical engineering as a bachelor degree in Quebec for the moment. I know McGill is trying to catch up, maybe one day. But yeah, in Canada generally, I think there's around 10 universities that offer biomedical engineering. So as we say in French, petit à petit, so slowly we'll be able to get there.
Yeah, and it's important to make the difference between, like, we're talking about Polytechnique program in Quebec, but you have some other universities in Quebec in engineering, and they offer biotechnology, bioengineering, but we don't have, it's not the same, you don't go towards the same opportunities afterwards. Like, it's distinct. So whatever we answer, it's not necessarily the same answers they would give. I know there's also university purely biomedical engineering in British Columbia, in Vancouver. You have like a really good program over there. In Toronto also?
Yeah.
Okay. So but it's still new, and the fact that there's only like 3-4 universities really offering purely biomedical engineering, it shows that it's a really emerging field.
Okay, thank you. So we have no further questions for you today, but it has been a pleasure having this insightful conversation with you. Thank you for sharing your experiences and your perspective on student activism, involvement in academia, and opportunities for biomedical engineering students. We truly appreciate your time and valuable input. To our listeners, thank you for tuning in to this episode of BioCast. We hope you found it as interesting and enriching as we did, so please stay tuned for our next episode. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you.
Okay, guys. Thank you. It was really interesting, and personally, I agree with everything you said.
Yes, there's a lot of similarities from what you said from where we experience here in Portugal. So thank you for your very valuable input.
Well, thank you it's really a good idea. Like, I don't know how you like came up with that idea of doing a podcast. I don't know like what's the reach you're gonna have with this podcast, but
so every season there's a theme. For example, like last season it was with a company here in Portugal, and this season also or this year we are focused in connecting with other associations from all around the world from biomedical engineering. So we thought we could also do a podcast a season with them. So you're here.
Perfect. Thank you.
And so which universities or which countries did you interview?
So yours is the second one, and the last episode was with Spanish, I guess, yes. And the other ones, I don't know. Okay. What will it be, but I think there's already a list.
All right, perfect. Well, we would be really interesting in having the link of the podcast after it's done.
All right, I'll send you.
And even, I don't know on which platform, is it only like an audio link? Is it like, how is it presented?
Spotify,
Okay.
all the usual ones.
All right. Well, yeah, we are interested in having the link, so we can also share it with our student community and just go listen to everything you're doing. It's really fun.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, good luck with your project and good luck with the end of your studies. Also, I don't know if.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you and
Yeah.
good luck for your
Okay.
project as well.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.